Coming up on West Side Stories, we look at how the deer population in Michigan is being affected by chronic wasting disease and what you should know about it.
And we give you an inside scoop on the Grand Rapids Annual Comic Convention.
Then, we talk to a traveling team of African dancers who showed us their talents at Grand Valley State University's Performing Arts Center.
All this and more coming up on West Side Stories.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications. Inspiring thought, perfecting practice.
Welcome to West Side Stories. I'm Elliot Perpich.
And I'm Callie Hubbard.
As the Michigan firearm deer season comes to an end, there is disturbing news about a deadly disease that's affecting the deer population. The Michigan DNR reports that for the first time, a deer harvested in the Upper Peninsula has been diagnosed with chronic wasting disease. Our associate producer, Linnea Martinez, filed this special report.
Once a deer has it, there's no cure.
It does scare me. Do all we can to fight it.
Michigan deer hunters are reacting to recent news that chronic wasting disease is more widespread in Michigan than they thought. Chronic wasting disease, or CWD, is 100% fatal to deer. The disease takes a long time to kill its host, so CWD can remain unspotted and unchecked for years.
So once a deer is infected, it can live with the disease for several years potentially without showing any symptoms. Typically, on average, it's about a year and a half before they start to show any symptoms. So that whole time they're infected and not showing symptoms, they're still infectious, and they can infect other deer and infect the environment.
First discovered in 2015 in Ingham County, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources is trying to find out the extent of the CWD problem in southern Michigan.
Right now, we're trying to figure out where geographically this disease is on the landscape.
The DNR has poured resources into testing for CWD, and what they've found is disturbing. As you can see on the map, key areas of concern are in the greater Grand Rapids area. FEDOA says most of the reports of CWD positive deer are in Montcalm County, but there have also been cases reported in Kent County. Many successful hunters in these CWD areas want to know if the meat from their deer is safe to eat. To find out, the DNR recommends that hunters ask their deer processor to remove the head of the deer for testing. Then, wait for the results before eating the venison they pick up from the processor. But that's playing it safe. Bottom line, there's little chance of humans contracting CWD.
There's been no scientific evidence that's linked humans getting infected with CWD by eating infected meat, but it's just a good precaution if you have a known infected animal to not eat the meat.
The DNR is using CWD research to make new hunting regulations to slow the spread of the disease. One controversial step being taken is to ban deer baiting.
There's research that shows baiting animals, artificially congregates deer, so anything we can do to prevent some of that artificial congregation of deer is going to help in regards to disease management. Deer are social by nature, so they're going to interact with each other regardless, but if we can take steps to limit some of that artificial congregation, we feel like that's an important step.
Deer bait is big business in Michigan. According to MSU Extension, it is a multi-million-dollar business. Some farmers harvest and bag part of their crop to sell as deer bait to make money. But baiting is not supported by all hunters.
More people need to hunt, actually, and not sit over a pile of corn. So I think that's what you're going to separate the hunters from the shooters. So, no, I think banning bait's a good thing.
The amount of dollars that's out there for deer hunting as a whole, as far as licenses and buying equipment and property, versus a smaller group that's making money off of selling bait, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's something that needs to be nipped in the bud.
The deer baiting debate has been settled, at least for now, by the DNR. Corn, beets, carrots, and other deer feed will be illegal in southern Michigan come January 1st. Meanwhile, the DNR is asking hunters for help by bringing their deer to deer check stations. New this year are Dropbox-style deer check stations FEDOA says makes it easier for hunters to get their deer tested for CWD. Hunters can also bring their deer to drive-up deer check stations where they can meet with DNR staff and share their concerns about CWD.
You know, you hear the rumor or whatever mill, oh, they're going to go and kill all the deer off. Well, I don't believe that, no.
One thing is certain, new hunting regulations make it clear that the DNR intends to reduce the deer population in southern Michigan. For the first time ever, regular firearms will be allowed in CWD areas during the muzzleloader deer season. In Shiawassee County, I'm Linnea Martinez.
The regular firearm deer season ends November 30th, but archery deer season and muzzleloader deer season continue into December. The Michigan DNR encourages all successful hunters to have their deer checked for signs of chronic wasting disease.
2 weeks ago, thousands of people gathered at DeVos Place in downtown Grand Rapids to take part in Comic-Con, an annual event where fans of comic books and other kinds of fantasy universes come together for a weekend full of activities. Reporters Devin Deli and Eli Ong take a closer look at the event and the people behind it.
You can't see the red pants, but got red pants going on, some boots. I look good. I look good.
For West Michigan fans of comic books, anime, and video games, this is perhaps the biggest event of the year.
Comic-Con is honestly the highlight of my year here working in this building. It's lovely to see the geek flag fly, and there's so much creativity. There are so many OCs, original characters, that come walking through, people who write their own comics and make costumes based on their comics.
The Grand Rapids Comic-Con brings in people of all ages and features a wide range of activities and attractions. At the con, you can find celebrity guests, artistic displays, and of course, cosplayers.
Just the amount of different costumes of people I can relate to as being around here. And everybody's been really, really friendly. I mean, I was expecting be kind of secluded, but you see a lot of people from different backgrounds.
I'm just glad to see so much variety is the thing. There's kids shows, there's comic books from the 80s, there's movies, there's all this stuff.
Cosplaying is a term that combines the ideas of costume and play, where fans can assume the roles of the characters they love at a convention. It first originated as a term in the 90s, and for those who do it, it's about more than just dressing up.
So it's not just about being a character and pretending. It's about learning about people at face value. It's about getting to show an inner part of your personality. It's really fun.
Comic-Cons have been around since the 1960s, but they used to attract a much smaller crowd than they do today. The Grand Rapids Comic-Con has been steadily growing since it started out in 2013, moving to larger venues each year as the size of its audience continues to grow.
You have, in nerddom, you have video games, you have board games, you've got anime, but all this comes together. It all stems from back in the 80s and 70s, and even well before that. It used to be a really small group of people, and it's really kind of grown into something it's embedded into our culture now.
With box office numbers showing fantasy universes like Marvel and Star Wars on the rise, fans of these conventions are finding that their culture is becoming more mainstream.
A lot of people didn't really fit in before all of this. They were desperate to find other people just like them, and this kind of a group, these kind of people, accept those kind of people, and it become like a family, so to speak.
That family is exactly how many would describe the culture of Comic-Con.
Get with yourself, get with your life. This event is such a highlight of geekdom and fandom. You can just be yourself and be what you love out in the open, and it's a very inclusive, welcoming event, and I really love that about Grand Rapids Comic-Con.
And it's kind of they're really accepting of people who come in here. They want people to join in, so it's become a very friendly environment.
In any given year, there are hundreds of similar conventions that take place all across the United States. The one in Grand Rapids is a fairly new convention compared to most of the others in the country, which is why owner Mark Hodges says he's constantly looking for ways to stand out from the rest.
The big challenge for me is we are the last major show of the year. Of all those ones I listed, we're the end. When you get to us, to get people to travel to our show, I have to be different than everybody else.
Hodges has to stay creative with his celebrity guest list in order to attract visitors. But perhaps the biggest challenge for him with such a large event is safety.
You know, my priority is my goal as a promoter is very, very simple. Everybody gets in the building, everybody has good fun, everybody gets in their car, and everyone gets off the property safely. That's ultimately my job. You know, all the rest of it is just filler. You know, the priority is safety.
Despite all that he does to keep the event safe and fun for those attending, Mark is hesitant to take up too much of the spotlight when it comes to his role in it all.
This event's never been about me. You know, it's just not. I mean, I don't want it to be about me. It never has been about me. It never will be. I don't want that. People tell me I have a right to be arrogant, but I don't think I do.
Aside from all the volunteers and staff members at the event, there's one key person who, without them, these kinds of conventions probably wouldn't exist at all. Stan Lee, the creative powerhouse behind some of Marvel Comics' biggest characters, passed away on November 12th at the age of 95. Lee was an innovator in the comic book world, and he took a more relatable approach to the characters he wrote. Thanks to him, heroes like Spider-Man and the Hulk have become as much of a household name as any real-life celebrity.
It's no fun reading about somebody who's perfect. You want to read about people that you can identify with.
Although Lee largely stepped away from his creative role at Marvel in the late 90s, he still went on to make a number of cameos in Marvel movies, further cementing his role as a beloved icon in the world of comics.
Are you Tony's stank?
Thank you for that.
It's clear to see that Lee's legacy is living on through the subcultures he helped inspire as people at Comic-Con continue to enjoy the sense of community at these events. And that community is what keeps people coming back. Reporting from downtown Grand Rapids, I'm Devin Deli.
The Grand Rapids Comic-Con is an annual event, so if you missed it this time around, you can always check it out next year.
The GVSU Performing Arts Center was a hub of activity last week when Kariamu and Company, a dance team, came to town. Reporter Mackenzie Sorrell has more.
Dancing, music, and a story. People at the Grand Valley Performing Arts Center last week could see it all.
My dance mother, Dr. Kariamu Welsh, who I studied with at Temple University, she codified a contemporary African dance technique called mufundala.
Mufundala is a technique based on traditional ideas from Africa and Africans who have been displaced from their homeland. The technique strives to tell the stories, myths, legends, and histories of the marginalized, the invisible, the forgotten, and the oppressed.
We have dances like Soba, as like high energy and talk about becoming a woman. And then we have our other piece, 444, where it talks about being a black woman and the things that we go through.
Moore says that by dancing, she is able to spread awareness about the African society. The dancers say Mufundala has helped them express and find out who they are.
Even though I can't trace back to who my great or, you know, what part of Africa I came from or all of these things, I felt that I was able to form a sense of identity that helped me have a voice.
I found this sense of like self-expression and this individuality, and I started to figure out who I was, and that started to really propel me, and I was intrigued in that process of just like exploring myself through art.
The dancers say they owe a lot to Dr. Kariamu Welsh, or as they call her, Mama K. Welsh is a professor in the Dance Studies Department at Temple University. She has been choreographing and teaching students for the past 40 years. Her students say she has helped them grow as dancers and as people.
Meeting her was definitely a godsend. It helped me stay connected to who I am, and she gave me more opportunities than anyone I think would have ever given me in Philly, and I'm like eternally grateful for it.
She definitely always has your best interest at the forefront of her mind.
She's just someone that is so caring and so giving and so gracious to so many. She accepts everyone as her family.
The atmosphere that Mama K has created has carried over into the community that the dancers experience. The dancers say they never have to look at the clock during a rehearsal because they love what they are doing and they love who they are doing it with. They say that the long hours they put in have created friendships that will last on and off the stage.
We work really hard to work together and create beautiful pieces and even be there for each other in our own personal lives.
Whether it's in the classroom, in rehearsal, on the stage, we're always trying to create a sense of community.
The dancers say they also want to show that sense of community to their audiences. They say they try to live out their love for dancing through the choreography and their facial expressions.
It definitely does take a lot to emote a story, especially when the choreography may not necessarily make it clear what is happening. And I feel like through my love of the things that I'm doing, hopefully people are able to pick up on what the story of the piece is.
Dance is joy, dance is love, dance is about community. Dance can touch anyone, and dance is for everyone.
The show ended with a standing ovation for the dancers. Reporting from Allendale, I'm Mackenzie Sorrell.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Kariamu and company will continue to travel around the country to share the myths, legends, histories, and stories of African culture.
Thanksgiving may have just ended, but that doesn't mean there aren't still opportunities for some holiday fun. So let's take a look at our weekly calendar. In this next story, we visit Allendale to see what an athletic team is doing to help an organization in need. Reporter Callie Hubbard has more on what this nonprofit is doing to help kids in the community.
Over 200 community members ran a 5K for one goal: to raise money for the children's food basket. People from all over West Michigan attended Grand Valley State University's 10th annual Turkey Trot race, hosted by the running club.
Come on, Mijo, you can do it!
It's an event that started with just a few people, but over time has gathered more than 200 people. And it's not just for fun. Runners are doing this for a special cause.
So pretty much it provides like bagged lunches that are often decorated by volunteers to kids that may not be able to, afford a school lunch or something like that, which is really neat.
According to running club member Kendra Lippincott, the mission behind the race was to collect money for a local Grand Rapids organization, the Kids Food Basket. According to the company, 1 in 5 Michigan children are affected by hunger, and thousands of West Michigan children are food insecure, which means they can't count on having access to nourishing food every day. 250 volunteers come together daily in order to make sacked suppers for children in the community. They do this to ensure that lunch won't be their last meal of the day. Kara Crotter, the Turkey Trot race director, chose this organization for a reason. She says their mission relates to her club at the university.
Just being a part of the outside community is something that's big for Grand Valley in general, and especially running club, because the running community in and of itself is so tight-knit that you can't really be a runner without being a part of the larger community. And I felt like Kids Food Basket, with being an local organization, really spoke to us.
It may have been 30 degrees and snowing during the race, but this didn't stop the community.
We just wanted to do something as a team and represent our school district, and so we signed up together, and yeah, we all finished.
Yeah, finished.
It was really long.
I'm ready to go for pizza.
Runners like Josephine Vanderhyde said she wouldn't have been able to get through the race without the encouragement of others.
I love the environment during races because everyone's experiencing the same thing and everyone's just got each other's back.
I ran in high school track and cross country, and it's just the same atmosphere. Everyone is just cheering for everyone and genuinely proud of everyone, and it doesn't matter if you're on the same team, you're all going through the same hardships, the same pain.
Part of being a runner is cheering for your fellow runners. Any person who's on a cross country or track team or in a running club will tell you that half the reason they're in it is because they love the people in the club.
Both Crowder and Lippincott were happy when they saw their mission come to life during the race.
I was definitely super excited to see just how many people showed out. Last year it was a pretty good size, but we had over 200 runners this year, which was so great. Just the support this year has been really overwhelming, and that's such a positive and heartwarming thing to see.
Crowder says she couldn't have asked for a better turnout. The GVSU Running Club raised over $8,000 for the kids' food basket this year. From West Side Stories, I'm Callie Hubbard.
If you're interested in getting involved with the organization, you can search Kids Food Basket on Facebook.
According to an article by USA Today, business, health, and engineering are among some of the most popular college majors for students. Reporter Montez Fennick takes a closer look at Grand Valley State University's event that helps students decide their major.
Grand Valley State hosted its annual Major Fair in Kirchhoff Center's Grand River Room. The Major Fair is an opportunity for students who are undecided to look at various majors GV has to offer. According to university officials, 70% of students are undecided at some point in time at college. The general education curriculum is designed to provide students exposure to a sampling of academic areas while earning credit towards graduation. But remaining undecided in a major can mean a longer road to graduation. Academic advisor Emily Davis says that they work primarily with undecided students and use the Major Fair as a supplemental tool to decide which major fits them the best.
So this is a good event for all students because it's an opportunity to meet faculty within the program. So even if you do have an idea of a major or you've already chosen one, it's still good to make those connections with the faculty members. And then for our students who don't have a major, this is a good opportunity to ask a lot of different questions, different things about the different majors that we have, possible careers, how much schooling you'll need, things along those lines.
You want rolling or the actual?
This is the 7th year that Grand Valley has more than 4,000 students who have declared majors. GV offers 90 undergraduate and 41 graduate programs. The FTIAC, or First Time in Any College report, recorded nursing, business, biomedical science, and exercise science as the most popular majors this year. The Major Fair introduced students to networking with faculty, staff, and alumni to learn about the world of work. For some students, this event was necessary for meeting some of the new members.
Well, I'm undecided, so this is super helpful because, I have no idea what I want. It was nice to be able to see different career paths I was interested in and get to know more about them.
Not only is this a time to learn about different majors, but also a time to learn about different programs going on at GV. The environmental science program has a project called the Sustainable Agriculture Project, where students use a farm on GVSU's campus. Kelly Parker, director of environmental program, thinks awareness isn't hard when it comes to environmental issues.
Because so many of the students who come talk to me are already very interested and fairly knowledgeable about environmental issues. And they're looking for a way to expand that knowledge, to learn how to make change, how to understand the complex systems that are involved, and that's what our courses offer.
Different strategies were used to gain awareness to various programs. For people like Jessie Nagel, a GVSU alumni public accountant, she was undecided for her first year, eventually declaring accounting as her loving major.
I love what I do, so I guess that's kind of, I'm drawing on my personal experience because I think a lot of times people think of accounting as a boring or not exciting field, so I kind of try to show them my excitement of the career path I'm on.
Students are advised to touch base with the Career Center for their first year. All students are provided with a career advisor assigned to the according major. Although this may be advised for first years, any student has the opportunity to excel with extra campus information.
Whether you're a freshman, sophomore, even if you have a major declared, I would say to go because they'll give you papers that further explain if you have any questions at all, and there's a lot of professionals that actually know what they're talking about to help you with.
It's good to go out there and talk to different majors and see. I mean, or if you're not happy with the major you're in and you're a sophomore, you should still come and check it out.
Reporting from Allendale, I'm Montez Vennick.
Thanks, Montez, for that story. If you're a college student still struggling to find a major, events like these happen every semester. Well, I'm afraid that's all the time that we have for this week. I'm Callie Hubbard.
And I'm Elliot Perpich. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
West Side Stories is produced by students from the Multimedia Journalism program at Grand Valley State University. Support also comes from the School of Communications, inspiring thought, perfecting practice.